Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. It's gonna be another long one. Yeah, not been doing much today. Did a fake interview for class, which is a very basic thing. I've reorganized my bedroom a little bit, you can see now, which is basically to say that I've just shuffled them around a bit. Did a game with Faye. She's technically changed. Holly has now technically changed her name to Faye, so I'm going to try and get used to calling her that. And yeah, so not too much to say at the beginning, but it is only the first day of the month. I just sent a risk assessment. Well, I sent a risk assessment yesterday to our equipment teacher person, and that was basically just, here, we're filming this action web series thing. Can you sign off on this risk assessment? So they got back to me and was like, okay, adjust all of these things just to make it a bit clearer and like more proper. Okay, right, cool. Did those. And I was like, okay, cool. Da, da, da. And then I was reading through it, and then there's this bit where it's just like, you mentioned that you're using a prop weapon. We just can't sign off on that at all. You cannot use any form of weapon in anything that you're making. We just won't sign off on the risk assessment. And now you don't know why I want the risk assessment done. It is because I need the equipment. I need to borrow the equipment. We're using, they can give us a boom mic, a black magic, which is yeah, very expensive. So my god, this week hasn't gone very well. Started writing a Witcher thing, basically just for fun. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it to like 40 pages, like minimum. And I've got it to 30, and I've now run out of source material to draw from. I'm gonna have to start like making up my own scenes for a grain of truth. I've already added a flashback. I've got all the equipment now. I've not set any of that up. I've got some magnetic lights, I've got radio mics, I've got the 6K camera, the black magic, which is the 6K camera, microphones, everything. I got into sort of, not really trouble for having like the gun thing. I may end up having to explain why I'm a bit more unwilling to cut the gun from the scenes just because I kind of have to, but because I just don't think I can get it to work otherwise. It is an action series, and the main antagonist is effectively around the level of a SWAT team member. So the idea that and it would, like, taking away her gun would mean that then the series is operating on this idea where it's kind of like, where it doesn't make sense. It's like if they sent the SWAT team to do a drug bust, but the SWAT team is completely unarmed. They're just meant to show up and start threatening people, like getting people to arrest, but they're gonna like punch them if they don't comply. It's like, instead of just using a weapon to get it just doesn't work. And then I realized today, while I was sort of spending an hour and 30 minutes wandering around Bristol, because I arrived an hour and a half early to meet with the lead actress of A Masked Hunter, I saw in CEX a thing of Red Dwarf, and my mind sort of went back to like when we were planning it, and I was like, oh, here's my idea. It's about character deaths and stuff like that, and you have like these examples of where like tons of people die, but it's treated in different ways. Like for instance, you know, tons of people die at the end of like Infinity War, and then that leads to that like opening tone of like Infinity War being really dour and all that. But then basically the same thing happens in Red Dwarf, and it doesn't happen. And then I realized the essay was due in yesterday at 4, and I haven't sent it. So I had to just in there without proofreading it, just download it and then just send it. today I met with the actress for The Masked Hunter. We talked, we sorted out a bunch of stuff, I answered all questions, this, that, the other. And I was like, yeah, maybe we'll film this Saturday, because you might be free then. If not, we might try and do some of the costume stuff as well. Finish the Masked Hunter's costume, because I've been paying Faye, so it was like, we'll just finish that. It's just because Faye can't do the chest part of the costume herself. So she needs the actress there to be able to do that. So that was what we might be doing next weekend. But then afterwards, she messaged me, and I'm not going to get into like the reason why, because I don't think I can disclose that. But she's got like now her own reasons for now wanting to quit, basically, the thing, and she was asking if that's okay, and I said, yeah, sure, that's fine. But that now means I need to find a new actress. But I'm hoping that I can find an actress who'll be free next weekend to either film probably the last scene, we might not do the opening scene. And I've emailed an actress. I've not heard anything back, but I messaged her like 2 hours ago. And yeah, and then I'm meeting with the other actress who's playing Emily tomorrow, so I'm gonna talk to her and I might ask her if she could just recommend someone. This week has not been going well. I really want to make a start on this film soon. Either this week, not this week, either next week or the week after that. Probably the weekend, because they have class pretty much always up until like 5 p.m. I bought a set of vegan cookies for when I met up with the actress, and I completely forgot that I had them. Still got one left.
So I met up with, I'm going to call her Emily, that's her character name. I've not actually checked to see if I can use a real name, so just playing it safe. But I met up with Emily, that went very well. I'll probably talk about that a bit more once I've hopefully met up with the new lead actress, who I'm emailing today to see if she's interested. So she's not the lead actress, she's a potential new lead actress. As the other one I emailed recently was a bit busy, so I was like, yeah, that's fine, good luck with your university work, all of that. But I've been reading some Vigilante comics. Now, many of you know Vigilante from, well, this.
Hey! Holy shit, look at that! It's a funny smiley man! Hey, do you want to come over and play? Man, that's adorable.
He is very different in the comics. From what I've heard, his appearance, or at the least his personality, is based off of someone else who took on the mantle of Vigilante, and not Adrian Chase's personality. And I can very much see that, because Adrian Chase is a lot more of a serious guy in these comics. When I first heard the name Vigilante as like his superhero name, I thought that was really dumb. It's like, of course he's a vigilante, all of them are vigilantes. But I think, and I might be wrong about this, he might be the first anti-hero. I think he is the first sort of superhero, at least in the sense of like the big leagues, Marvel and DC, that was actually a comic, like a lead character in their own comic run who actually killed people. And that was not like, it wasn't a mistake or anything. Like Batman used to kill people, and then there was a bunch of gun controversies back in the 1920s about gun laws and stuff like that. So they ended up removing guns from him. In like the second comic of his, they literally have a story where he like goes after someone. The whole thing with that character really feels like it has some parallels to cancel culture, except this was written in the 80s, so weirdly topical. But yeah, and he's just beating this guy basically to death, just insisting that he confesses to the crimes that he did, and then and then JJ, who's one of Adrian's like friends, he's kind of like the tech guy, just shows up and just stops Vigilante, and he's just like, no, this guy actually didn't do anything. It was like, they framed him, he didn't actually commit those crimes. and it's just got this like panel like it's got like a pair of panels where Vigilante just looks at like how horribly beat up this guy is, and then looks back at the destruction of the house they just fought through, and he's just there like, what have I done? And for a brief time he actually retires after that because he can't cope with that. And I have read a different Vigilante comic through the Suicide Squad case files, which is the one where Peacemaker was brought into the DC universe because he was part of another universe prior to that, and then DC bought that company. It's the same thing that happened with Captain Marvel, Shazam. And with Peacemaker, they introduced him in a Vigilante comic, except it wasn't Adrian actually being Vigilante, it was someone else. He had sort of retired-ish. However, Peacemaker kills the current Vigilante, and Adrian takes back on the mantle, which makes me think that him dipping in and out of being Vigilante is a bit more of a common thing. And I'm very interested to know how it ends, because I know that this comic has an ending, and that it was a very rare thing that actually has a beginning, middle, and end. It's a complete story. And that since then, Adrian hasn't, like, been Vigilante. So I'm very interested to see, like, how this actually goes about that. And I wonder if the DC Universe will end up eventually adapting those more interesting, like, the parts of that character that I find more interesting. Yeah, I've been up since midnight, not slept at all day. Well, all of that. I've been up since 11 yesterday. Not slept. And yeah, so what did I do? I made that map. I did some writing. Not for any of the film stuff that I'm doing, because God, I'm already stressed about that. Anyway, moving on.
It's Valentine's Day, so kind of obligatory talking about me being alone. Also, I was trying to set up the radio mics, and there's just a constant popping noise that is going on, so I'm kind of just rolling without it. So, I hope the audio is okay. Valentine's Day never really interested me a whole lot when I was younger. It was just kind of a day, which is definitely becoming a running theme for a lot of holidays and events. It's just, you know, it's just Christmas, or it's just Halloween or something like that. It's kind of becoming a little bit like a non-event for me, a lot of holidays. But Valentine's Day was always kind of one because it was like, I was always single, so there was no reason to really get interested in it. And I think even when I dated Faye, not a whole lot really, like, happened. With, like, obviously this year, I think this sort of started happening in January, and then it sort of carried over into this, which is that I've noticed that I've been really missing kind of like the sort of physical intimacy. But I miss some of that, and I obviously also do miss the romantic part, but I've often felt a bit like I can probably go on without the romantic part for as long. So I've been trying to figure out what to do, because I did approach my crush that I mentioned in the previous video in December. Well, I actually approached them in January, and they weren't interested in a relationship, and I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine, and we just kind of, and after a brief moment of me needing just to figure out what else to talk about, we pretty smoothly just carried on, and we talked about pop history and watched some videos and stuff like that, and it was like, no, it's fine. I did at one point try a Friends with Benefits thing. They also weren't interested in that. Yeah, it's just sort of led me down this route of like, I don't think there's anyone in my class I would like to date. I would like to date someone who's into like filmmaking and stuff like that, because it kind of makes it a bit easier. There's someone to more directly talk about filmmaking, and I'm not going to necessarily bore them, because that could occasionally happen with Faye. She didn't really care much about behind the scenes stuff, and it was always one of those things that when I wanted to talk to someone about it, it was always, with her, it was a bit more difficult to really approach about that. So I would like to date someone in that industry, but then again, I'm also like, that causes complications sometimes, especially if I'm employing people and I'm starting to pay people, because then that raises questions and there's professional stuff and all of that. So, I don't know. The other option that I had is one that I think I had been thinking about when I was like 16. And I was like, okay, if I reach 18 and I'm not dating anyone, then I'm gonna join a dating website. I remember Ron was like, no, don't do that, because it'll make it for a really boring story when people ask you how you met. To which it's like, nobody but you ever asked me how I met Faye. And it's not an interesting story. You know how me and Faye like started dating? It was just, I was like, earlier on I'd gone like, hey, you know, I had a crush on you, but then obviously like, you're a boyfriend, so, you know, and then a bit later, she was like, oh yeah, so, FYI, I also don't have a boyfriend anymore. Like, oh, okay, what? And then a bit later I was like, hey, did you want to do this like game thing so that we can learn more about each other? There's some not safe for work stuff at the end, but we can just ignore that if you don't want to do those. And she was like, no, I'm fine with doing them. So I was like, okay. Then we're going along through this list and we get to about the middle, which basically says, who's your crush? She responds with depends, do you have a mirror? And I am not kidding when I say my response, word for word and in delivery, was, yourself. To which she responded with just, no, I'm talking about you, you're my crush. Oh. So, are we like, dating now? I guess so. Okay. You wanna finish the game? Sure. And that was how we started dating. What a thrilling story. I'll probably figure out what I'm going to do at the end of the month. Maybe I'll ping Rowan a message, ask him if he's on the plane to Berlin. And if he's with his girlfriend, ignore me. I want someone to talk to. I want to tell someone about the dating website thing. Yeah, we'll see. So, I've been still working on all of this stuff, and I have not felt this much anxiety for a project than with a Masked Hunter. Talking with like the actors was generally fine, although there's all the awkwardness, primarily with the lead, where I've always got to go like, hey, so here's the thing that happens, you know, the character at one point has to like, because they get wounded, you know, gotta like pull down the costume bits so they might be in their bra, that would probably be like sports bra, would you be okay with that? And she was like, yeah, sure. So then a bit, I'm like, okay, well in the last episode, there's a bit where she's got like some wounds here, one of them is on her leg, and in the script it was originally that was going to be the wound that was being patched up, that would require you to be in your pants and bra. Would you be okay with that? Or do you want me to change it? And she was like, could you change it? And I was like, yeah, sure. But it's still one of those things that's really awkward to bring up. And then I was talking to her about the costume, and I was like, yeah, Faye's been doing this, that, yeah. She said that we'll have to like physically meet for her to be able to do like the chest part. I think this is because she's been attaching all the pieces like this and that. And yeah, she just needs that. And then I messaged Faye today just to go, hey, how's the costume going? Could you send some pictures over so I can send them to the actress? And she's like, I've not attached any of the pieces together. Which is like, I haven't even put the fabric on the foam yet. To which it's like, oh, so you've not done anything since I was there a few weeks ago. Yeah, I had to go more like producer on you, but that is what I'm doing. I'm having to do a lot of stuff. You know, I have to make sure everything's safe. I have to make sure everyone's there. I'm emailing. I'm not kidding when I'm saying I'm sending emails every day to different people to make sure things are set up. I'm constantly contacting people and making sure the equipment is, and you know, if things aren't working out, I have to get people placed. I need the costume done by next weekend, because if I don't have it by next weekend, I'll have to come to you the following weekend and pick it up, and that means delaying filming, and if it's not done by then I need to keep delaying filming. And if we reach the Easter holidays, then everyone is going to be going back home, most of them to London, where obviously I then can't film with them. I need the costume, because I need to be able to film with it. And like, I know a lot of this has been focused in on Faye, but that's because that's the most recent development. Right now I'm going to be talking to... because I know I can't film the opening scene, which is kind of fine, because even though she doesn't wear the costume, it does appear at the very end of that. But yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be doing all of the storyboarding for the ending scene. And I'm also today going to be messaging everyone to make sure that, to try and confirm that everyone can meet up on either Saturday or Sunday, and we'll arrange times around that. Because the person doing probably sound is going to be doing... I'll ask which one he prefers, sound or camera, and we'll take a look at that. Yeah. I am very stressed. Developments. I thought Faye might show up in the video, or there was a chance that Faye would show up in this video. That's sadly not happening. Instead, I've sorted out some stuff with new actress. She seems on board to do pretty much all of the stuff. Mostly. I still need to do like a proper phone call with her, but you know, we're getting around to doing that.
Czym mogę służyć?
Mam trochę pieniędzy, które chciałem wymienić na koronę.
Dobrze trafiłeś. Oferujemy wymianę po najkorzystniejszym kursie w mieście.
The actress is aware that we may have to go and visit Faye specifically to get the costume done, which is a lot. It's a big thing, but we're gonna figure it out over the next couple of weeks. So it's probably not gonna be next week. It might be the week after that we actually. So yeah. So this week we're just gonna probably chat. We're not gonna do anything too much. Next week we'll film, and then hopefully on the Sunday, because then we can have a full day. And then the day, and then the following week I would like to go to Winchester on ideally a Saturday, so that she can potentially take time off work to go and do that. That's sort of my hope. That's what I'm wanting to have happen, but we'll have to sort of just wait and see if we can really get some of that done soon. And it also requires us to, you know, make sure that Faye can actually like meet up and just go over the whole costume thing. So we'll see.
So, I'm at the moment running a Witcher game for Faye. She takes a long time to respond, usually. So, yeah, so I'm just kind of like, I'll record and talk at the same time. So basically, when it comes down to a lot of our games and stuff, at the moment I'm running her Witcher stuff. I was letting her know earlier that I might try and do some Kadaj stuff, because it's like, not really a whole lot of stuff that I've got left. Like, I know we have her Cyberpunk Red character, we have JJ, we have Faye, Nina, the Bat, and kind of Jace and the Witcher, but I've been running a lot of those for a really long time. But it's like, with Faye, I have run... I'll just film it and just give a rough count of how many Faye games that we've done. But it is a lot. All of that means that I've kind of started running out of ideas for what to do for our solo games. There's one idea I do have. When it comes to Nina, we can do stuff with her, but I think we're going to run into the same thing with the Cyberpunk Red character, which is, Nina is fine, but there's only so much you can really do with a corpo character without things getting repetitive, especially that she runs her own company. Jace can work, especially with him trying to find Faye once he comes back, because he died, I killed him off, and she hated that. With him now back as a clone, having a set of games where he goes to find her and is sort of following her clues that she left in, like, England and stuff like that, could be really cool, having him more following in her footsteps, leading to their reunion. And with Svele, we're once again sort of, I'm running out of ideas. So my basic concept now is, let's end Svele's story. Let's have her and Volk and Hinder move somewhere, maybe the far east coast, or maybe the far north, that's though very like frosty, so maybe not there. Alternatively, one kind of cool option is the second continent. There are at least two major continents in the Witcher universe. Ophir and stuff like that don't seem to be counted as continents, so maybe they're a bit more like islands. Yeah, I think though, I want her to sort of retire, and then we're going to move on, and I want her to go... So yeah, so I want her to sort of retire Svele and get a character that's a bit more morally grey, so either a Catskill Witcher or a Viper Witcher, potentially. Viper Witchers would allow us to go for a school and an area with like Nilfgaard that we've just never used before. A Catskill Witcher means that she can be much more hated. She can also be a lot more agile and do things like thievery and stuff like that, which could be cool. I don't think this month has been as interesting as last month.
So I'm actually playing as Nina Reeve Quinn at the moment. Most of this just comes down to the fact that it's like, I kind of wanted to play another character that wasn't just the Nomad character that I always play as. I also know that there was a recent update, so I wanted to try and take a bit of a look into that as well, and see what it's like. I've been setting up my sort of dating website thing, just trying to figure out what I sort of want to do with some of that. Other than that, there's not really a whole lot that's been happening, I guess. We still have the thing over here. No, got it. But yeah, this is what I'm doing, I guess. This is probably all going to be cut because of the fact that I don't have much to film. I'm going to have a shave soon. Yes, I did shave like this. It is a joke. Mostly, yeah, it is a joke. I thought it would be funny to have a moustache. I also noticed that my hair is growing out, so I look a bit like Kurt Connors. So it's the end of the month, and it's time to reflect. Started this month with The Actress, ready to film on the weekend. I was looking for love, and I was waiting for Faye to finish the costume. It's now the end of the month. I've got The Actress, and we're going to film on the weekend. I'm looking for love, and I'm waiting for Faye to finish the costume. I have accomplished nothing this month. It has been an entire waste of time. I will not get any of this back, and that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.